Brainstorm Brewery is proudly brought to you by Channel Fireball. If you're looking for content, buying, selling, or just hanging out with like-minded Magic players, check out channelfireball.com. And if you're interested in any of the cards we talk about on our segments this week, highly recommend checking out Channel Fireball's store, buy list, as well as any content on the site and the YouTube channel. There's a lot of great content creators there who deserve your support. So again, thank you to Channel Fireball for sponsoring this podcast, and please go show them your support. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Brainstorm Brewery. We have another special episode for you this week, complete with new segments, new cards, new Commander format, essentially, with all the cards coming out in Commander 2020. So we've got a lot on the docket tonight. As always, I'm Corbin Hostler, joined by my co-hosts Jason and DJ. And we're Brainstorm Brewery. This is a podcast that got started something like 8 years ago now. It started out originally, shout out to Jason, Ryan, and Marcel, the original crew. It actually just started as Ryan, Marcel, and I forever ago. These days, we've come a long way. We're introducing some new segments for you. We're trying to keep evolving.
We are staying hip with the times, as
that's right.
Jason would say.
That's right. Shout out, as always, to our sponsor, Channel Fireball. So let's jump right into it this week, guys. There's been a lot going on with stimulus checks coming in. And one of those things is that we have seen some run on cards that maybe we wouldn't have seen otherwise. Wheel of Fortune is probably the one that takes the cake. We talked about that last week in our new segment, which we're calling TBD.
The budget discussion.
The budget discussion. We haven't figured out what we're going to name it yet, but keep those suggestions coming. Someone did suggest Dollar Generals, but we're not talking about generals. I don't want to mislead people, so
we're talking about commanders, not generals.
But we're not. We're talking about the format commander. We're not even talking about commanders.
We might be talking about commanders.
We might be. It'll be a secret.
We might not be talking about commanders. Anyway, shout out to Mara in the Discord who came up with Dollar Generals, and shout out to everyone else in the Discord who gave us $1 a month at patreon.com/brainstormbrewery. For that money, they have access to the Discord server where they can join our contests, interact with us, and suggest titles for our TBD segment.
That's right. So last week we did Wheel of Fortune. It spiked. This week we're going to talk about another card that's gone up in price recently, although not quite as much. But Copy Artifact. That card has gotten expensive. It's a 2-mana blue spell that copies an artifact.
What does it do, Corbin?
Yeah, copies an artifact. If you reading the title, explains the whole card in this case. So yeah, it's $30-$40 at this point, but there are a ton of cards just like Copy Artifact that cost less, and today we want to share a couple of them with you. So this is the segment TBD, the budget discussion, replacing Copy Artifact in your deck with a budget alternative. Go. Who wants to start?
I think my budget alternative is arguably better than Copy Artifact in most decks.
Okay.
That is Phyrexian Metamorph. It is roughly $5 or $6, and so that's 25% of the price of Copy Artifact if you're looking at HP copies. Right. And I mean, most HP copies revised set, so it's an old card. But Phyrexian Metamorph can copy artifacts or creatures, and you only need to pay 1 more mana to do it, and then 2 life, but that's not a real mana cost. And you get the versatility of just copying basically anything on the board in a commander deck. You can copy somebody else's commander, you can copy somebody's Soul Ring, you can copy somebody's Thran Dynamo, copy their Blightsteel Colossus. It just does everything. It's not a rogue, but it finds a place in my rogue deck.
It is just generically extremely strong. I'll go next. I've got a more recent one that is actually really cheap right now, and I don't think it'll stay that way, but Mirror Maid from Throne of Eldraine. Mm-hmm. It's a 3-mana enchantment. You can have it enter the battlefield as a copy of any artifact or enchantment on the battlefield. So like DJ said, Copy Artifact costs 2 mana. All right, that's just that is what it is. You're not going to be able to replace that. But this is Commander. You don't need that 1 mana is very, 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 very rarely ever going to make a difference in winning or losing. And like DJ said with Metamorph, you get additional upside for that extra mana. So it's not even that we're talking about worse versions that are budget. We're talking about cards that in some ways are arguably better. They're just not old and expensive. So you can have Mirror Maid from Throne of Eldraine for $1 and get a copy of any of the enchantments you please as well.
That's a budget version of Phyrexian Metamorph.
That's pretty much, right? Metamorph can't copy creatures, though, and Mirror Maid cannot. But yeah, it can hit enchantments. I mean, look, the reality is run them both, right?
Yeah, I mean, Commander's a format of versatility, so people play Return to Dust over Disenchant for a reason.
Yeah.
Hey, if you want versatility and you don't care about paying 4 mana for your Disenchant, why don't you slide on over to a card called Mechanized Production? Well, not only does it make a copy of an artifact, it makes a copy of that artifact every upkeep. And then you can win the game if you have 8 of those on your turn, which is tough if you have 8 Soul Rings, because that'll take forever, but it's not tough if you have 8 treasure tokens, or something like that. Like, Mechanized Production can just straight win you the game next upkeep, or it can just, make a bunch of copies of your Spine of Ishar or whatever. It's a little bit of a different card, but at the same time, for $3-4. This is a card that is a win condition on top of being a copy artifact type spell. Mirror Maid and Mirage Mirror and Phyrexian Metamorph, they're a little bit more versatile because they can copy more things. Mechanized Production only gets artifacts, but if it's also a win condition and it just spits out a copy every turn, get another Blightsteel or something crazy like that. It has to be something you control, but that's rarely a drawback.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, everybody, there you go. It's TBD. It's the new segment. So what we're going to try to do with these, and I look, this is Brainstorm Brewery. We basically give you guys give everybody a peek behind the curtain every week. But what we want to do with that segment is we want to try to reach more people, right? We want to try to get some of those Commander players who maybe don't care as much about the finance stuff of what to buy and what to sell, but they do care about saving money. And that's what we're aiming at for there. So we're going to clip that out. We're going to put it on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Brainstorm Brewery. And that way it'll be shareable, right? So if you, a listener of Brainstorm Brewery, want to help out, please go check out our YouTube channel and maybe share that clip around a little bit. We want to try to, I think it's a good niche. We like what we come up with here. We want to try to spread that to more people. We think it has value. But
yeah, I mean, I think that our podcast has a niche in that a lot of our listeners become experts in this particular area of their own little microism of their own local game store, their own, a lot of our listeners become known as the finance guy or the finance person in their area, and then you could have these little sound bites and clippables to just share to your friends and family who ask wait, you seem to know when to buy and sell cards. What should I do with this, or how should I make this deck better with less money? And these are little ways you can just not have to type out giant paragraphs every few minutes.
Yeah. That's actually, that's how a lot of ideas on this show get started, is we get asked the same question 10 times and we're like, I feel like I've really explained that before. So we're like, we have. It's just hidden in an hour and a half long podcast.
Go listen to minute 35.34 of episode 235, which was 14 years ago. And
yeah, exactly.
So we explained that thing over and over for 8 years, and then we're like, oh yeah, we have a podcast.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But let's, moving on from that, we talked about this before the cast and we realized, hey, this is actually good information we should share. Talking about the card copy artifact brought it up, but the reality is right now with the stimulus checks rolling into a lot of people in the United States, we talked a couple months ago about how it's a really bad time to be messing with Magic cards. The value is tanking, everyone's shutting down, stores are closing. Well, all it took was everyone getting some stimulus bucks because prices are starting to shoot back up. But it's not
oil will be worthless before Magic cards will.
Man, all right.
The rare oil, the rare fossil fuel that provides so much utility and value to millions of industries will die out before fucking wizard cardboard.
Wow. All right. Hot take there from DJ. Don't know.
It's not a hot take. It's apparently factual.
Well,
that's true.
I'm really kind of sick of people that can't tell the difference between oil and oil futures, and they're like, I could get a barrel of oil for negative $30.
You could pay me to get oil.
Mm-hmm. When I go to the gas station, they give me the money. I don't know why he turned into Randy Newman there. Randy Newman's not an idiot. Hi, it's Randy Newman. I'm here to fill up my RV with my check for $100. I'll write you a song about it.
But
the cast solves the gas crisis.
Yeah, no kidding. The reality, though, is it's not just stimulus checks driving up prices. It's some other stuff as well. So, Jason, DJ, I think both of you had something you want to touch on here. So take it away, DJ.
Yeah, absolutely. So Magic cards have been increasing in price over the past few weeks, and people are wondering why. And I am sitting home for the past few months because I have no events to travel to. For those of you who don't know, I am a buyer for 95 MTG, one of the more well-known vendors on the Magic Fest circuit, and my job is to just buy massive amounts of cards all weekend from players who are at the Magic Fest, go through binders, go through boxes, buy huge collections. And then we, as a store, take those cards, bring them all back to the home office in Delaware, sort them, list them on all of our sales platforms like TCG Player, Amazon, Card Market, all that. And that's how a lot of your cards that you buy on those storefronts get added to the universe, the internet marketplace. Is that all these vendors like Channel, like 95, like Cool Stuff, all these vendors are just getting cards en masse from Magic Fest and their local game stores and their PTQs that they're vending and all this stuff. And when those events die out, just the reservoir of cards that are available on the internet to buy just slowly dries up over the course of a few weeks in this case. And I mean, a reservoir is just sort of a good metaphor where like you have this fixed amount of water, and then when that source is cut off, you just eventually dries up. And so that's what you're seeing with these cards like Sylvan Library, like Vampiric Tutor, where you're looking at them and you're like, wait, this is an economic downturn. Why are these cards not cheaper? Well, the supply is just getting lower and lower, and these stores like Channel and 95 can't necessarily keep up with the sales they're having, so the prices go up and up and up as people buy out the bottom of these price graphs with their stimulus checks.
Yeah, and the thing is, you think, oh well, why is it any different? You just sell your cards online. Well, I mean, a couple things about that. I think the most obvious one is that a lot of stores have slowed down their warehouse production. So even if you did want to sell, maybe it's not easy for you to. But this is the other one to think about. I know so many people who just take boxes of Magic cards to a Magic Fest. They sell them. They sell their decks at a Magic Fest. They take their draft leftovers to a Magic Fest. It takes so much less effort or time or knowledge or just being comfortable with the process or any of these things. It's so much easier for the average Magic player to just walk into a Magic Fest they're already going to and offload those cards. Like DJ said last week, you get into someone's binder who doesn't think they have anything, you pull out $100 worth of standard stuff they forgot about, right? Those people aren't ever going to buy list that stuff. They're not going to send in an order. They're not going to, if they're even comfortable buy listing online, which frankly, a lot of people aren't. I have a lot of local customers who just don't want to mess with online stuff for whatever reason.
Which is great because that we get to buy locally.
Yeah. I mean, it really is nice. So all of this is going into this. There's a lot of things keeping those cards getting out there. So the real question, I think, becomes if there's a bunch of demand right now, but no supply, well, we know what's going to happen, right? We're seeing prices go up, but the alternative could be true, right? In a month or 2 months or 6 months when Magic Fest come back, is that thing going to create a glut of supply of cards of people dumping to sell who've just been holding on to them for 6 months? Are you concerned about that in the future?
That's a really interesting question because I don't have a solid answer on that because I think it depends a lot on how many Magic players are willing to risk going to a Magic Fest in a post-pandemic world, right?
Right.
Like, we saw Magic Fest attendance fluctuate relatively wildly based on the past, 8 months or so, just based on, this event didn't have very many people at the main event, but the room was full of Mystery Booster attendees, or Magic Fest New Jersey was the busiest thing I've had in 5 years. So, we had all these ups and downs, and I'm not really sure where the coin toss lands on the first event where it's like, okay, we're open, we're back to Magic Fests. I don't know how many people are going to be willing to risk their health and safety by going to. I mean, we make jokes about Magic players being willing to just do completely absurd things in order to play Magic, but I mean, I honestly don't know how many people are going to be willing to make those drives and make those decisions.
Who wants to be the guinea pig that go to be the first one back to the first Magic Fest? It's going to be a tough sell.
I mean, I guess we'll see. Look, I'm gonna. This will sound cold and callous, but the number of Magic players I've had sell me Magic cards because they don't have rent money or whatever. They don't have an emergency fund. They don't even have the start of an emergency fund. They don't have their $500 in the bank for an emergency, but they do have $1,000 modern deck. I don't know if that type of planning skills can be transferred, will correlate to the coronavirus, but just based off the grinders that I interact with regularly, I suspect Magic Fest will be packed at the end of all of this, because I don't know if the people who aren't preparing for a flat tire are the people who are concerned about getting sick, you know?
Sure.
Right? Like,
I mean, that's a real possibility.
And we're generalizing here, but I think enough of those people exist that, and a lot of people are just gonna be cooped up and want to play Magic again, man. You'll probably see some masks. You'll probably see some socially distancing in terms of like maybe lines or something like that. Just maybe you'll see less touching of other people's cards, that sort of thing. I think there's probably, and I'm sure
not
Channel
in my
Fireball
job,
events. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Channel Fireball events is going to do everything they can to try to make things safe whenever Magic Fests do come back. So I don't know. I tend to think that there will be a lot of pent up demand of people who just really want to go see their friends again too, you know, who they see at Magic tournaments.
Sure.
So but does that translate into a bunch of cards getting sold to vendors? That we don't know. You know,
this is relatively unprecedented. Like, Magic's been a game since '96, but it's never taken 6 months off.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
You say 96?
That's a really good way to put it.
Oh, no.
Well,
that's when
I started
competitive,
playing in '96, so I don't care what happened before.
Sure.
You're
I
right,
mean,
it's
94 technically, right?
What? 93?
93.
Like the game really like debuted in 94, right? Was it like Gen Con 93 and then like 94 is when it blew up? Do I have that timeline right? I think
we
I
all
do.
just
It
say
doesn't really
96.
matter.
That's a nice number. When I started playing, the game might as well not have existed before then. Homelands was out.
Ooh,
can all
you
agree
came in
on
at the right
Homelands.
time.
That was when they invented the mechanic where you couldn't target certain creatures, and that's been real good. So let's just say that the Autumn Willow was the first Magic card ever printed, and leave it at that.
There you go. Is that the green thing? Is that
That
a
is
green
the
creature?
green girl, yeah.
I think I have an artist proof of that one.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is kind of cool.
I only made 50 of those.
So the other thing to keep in mind when events do come back, and even if these dealers have cards to buy, just because there are more cards now on the market does not inherently mean that a card is going to come down in price. We've talked about price memory and second spikes before, and we talked just now about copy artifact being really expensive, despite not a ton of reasons for it to be. And there's some psychological stuff behind that we've seen drive the market before. So Jason, do you want to go ahead and touch on that stuff?
So one of the reasons that copy artifact was like expensive in the first place was there were a couple times where it was used in some Tezzeret legacy decks, and the internet basically got bought out. So when a card is not played or played less, it's whatever it's worth, right? It's kind of in the stores for whatever price. It's in people's binders. A card is a price, right? Some event happens. It's a printing. It's a deck being built. It's a tournament result. It's something. Some event changes the price. And when the price changes, the incentive changes. So not paying $20 for a copy of Copy Artifact at your LGS is it's a decision you make every time you walk by, see it's $20 and don't buy it, right? That makes sense to you economically at the time. When Copy Artifact is $30 on a buy list, all of a sudden buying it at 20 and arbitraging that $10 makes a lot of sense, or buying it for 20 and trying to trade it off for 50. So when people see a $20 copy of a $40 card, there's no reason not to buy it. So all of a sudden, all those $20 copies that are in binders and stores, in people's shoebox under their bed, all those copies get ferreted out by people who are going looking, People like me will just cruise through every LGS in town when a card gets unbanned or something like that, or we're speculating. We'll buy up all those copies, and we'll either buy list them or we'll sell them on, whatever seller platform. So that has the effect of concentrating the copies in the hands of dealers. Say everybody at a Magic Fest was selling a card for 20, but somebody had it on their hot list for 25. I'm going to go around the room. I'm going to pay 20 on every single copy and buy list it for 25. I'm going to make $5 a copy. And that dealer is going to get every single copy out of the room immediately, if that's what they were going for. What the effect of that is every copy that was in the room is concentrated in the hands of that one dealer, and they basically determine the price at that point. So that happens on a larger scale when a card's price moves. So when a card spikes again, it's going to go up way faster because, say, copy artifact goes to 20 or goes to 40 from 20 and then drops back down to 30, right? Well, if it gets used again a year later, it's not going to go to 40 because nobody's going to be able to buy those $20 copies. Right. No one's going to look online and be like, this is $40, forget it. You know, I can pay 20 for this. All those $20 copies are gone. And everything's like a $30 copy that, like, you know, a small handful of dealers have. So once all the copies that are like in your friend's binder that you could just borrow from them rather than, you know, buying, you have fewer options and more people have to go pay the retail price, and the price goes up much more quickly. It's selling out from a smaller number of places, and it's selling out more quickly, and the people that have the copies realize they're in control of the price, and so the price goes up much quicker. So on something like Copy Artifact that's spiked a few times before, Copy Artifact's in the stock of Channel Fireball, you know? It's not in your friend's binder anymore. So when a card spikes for like a second or third time, it has a tendency to go up faster and go up more profoundly and come down slower because there's not as much of a race to the bottom when you have fewer people trying to sell out.
Right. And that's where price memory comes in as well. Because say you are a person who traded for it at $40 and it doesn't do anything for 6 months and the price has drifted down to $35. You don't want to sell it. You don't want to get rid of it. You've paid $40 for that, right? So you have people who don't. That's part of the reason. The other reason is to just. So once those people have a card that they paid X amount for, they don't want to sell it for less than that. So all the other stuff that Jason talked about, you have to add on to that. That even the people who do have copies, just through inertia, are not going to do anything with them. They're just going to, if they're sitting on a website to sell, they're going to stay at that price. If they're sitting in their binders, they're not going to do anything, touch that card until it spikes again. But turns out they probably did that the first time. You just have a bunch of cards that no one is messing with and they're not able to be put into the market. So compound that with everything we talked about going on with COVID and no Magic Fests. You have a lot of cards. This is just setting the stage for stuff to spike because you just don't have a way to backfill that supply. And like Jason said, when cards get to a certain price and they've gone up and they've been bought out from players, they're not going to fall that quickly. They're going to always go down slower than they went up because that's always a gradual process, right? There's never just, unless something is banned, there's never just overnight a card goes from no all play to no play.
Even then, when cards get banned, there's still people that just say, no, I want to hold on to it. I mean, I paid this much.
Yeah.
It's a collectible card game.
Yeah. Price memory and the second spikes. These are really important factors to the market that we take for granted on this podcast, and we talk about them a lot and we mention them, but we realize we don't ever have anything we can point to. So hopefully we can point back at this segment for people to learn about that, because it is a very important part of the market. Okay, all right, let's move right on along from that to the old favorite segment, Breaking Bulk.
Breaking Bulk time. Breaking Bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, Breaking Bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking Bulk. The end.
Why does it have to be the old favorite segment?
No. Because I have a new favorite segment. It's the budget discussion.
Just doesn't have the same ring to it.
I agree. Breaking Bulk is a very good name. Keep those names coming for the other section. But I'll go first. I think you guys will get this pretty quickly. I have a card that's been printed 3 times. The first one was in Conspiracy. It's a multicolored uncommon.
Death, whatever the green-black death card is.
Yeah, Death Reap Ritual.
Yeah.
I love this card. A 4-mana enchantment. It has Morbid at the beginning of each instep. If a creature died this turn, not just yours, any creature, you may draw a card. So every turn, if a creature dies, you get to draw a card. 4-mana enchantment, boom. It's
Wait,
in
so
green
every
black.
turn you get to draw a card?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Especially,
It's like
in green black has all kinds of removal, so it's easy to trigger.
It's like a Phyrexian Arena doesn't deal you damage, or a Fecundity that doesn't draw your opponent's cards. It's it's not quite as powerful as Fecundity, but it's
I'm a
it's
little
as
sad the
reliable.
foil's not worth as much anymore. I used to have a foil Conspiracy one in my Sovereign deck, and it's a very, very nice foil.
Nice.
But
Nice.
the foil got
It is a good one.
Did
But
it
yeah,
get
so
mystery boosted?
Yep.
It was in a master set too. I think it was.
No, it's Conspiracy C18 and Mystery Boosters.
Okay, that's what it was.
So that's it's fairly like the Mystery Booster copy can be had for 50 cents. The Conspiracy one and the Commander 2018 one are closer to $1. So these.
So why is the foil worthless now?
The foil's still like $5.
But no, I know. But like when I picked it up, it was like 15.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Magic is dying. I'm done selling everything.
I'm going to be honest. MTG stock says the highest market price of the foil ever was $7. I sure hope you didn't pay 15.
I swear I remember this card.
No,
being
I'm just kidding. You probably did. We only have the foil price going back to 2018. The card's been out for 5 years.
Okay.
Which will make you feel old, by the way. Conspiracy 1 came out in 2014, actually.
Wow,
6
you
years
were
ago.
alive in 2014. You're a boomer. Haha. I did that joke you guys do.
We're not joking, Jason.
I remember Cheers.
Jason, this is an
ancient.
intervention.
Yeah,
Jason, stop talking about the television show Bonanza. Nobody remembers that.
Just eat your pudding, Grandpa. It's going to be okay.
Which one of you would like to jump in next?
Never mind. I didn't say the color. This is a Modern Horizons rare.
What?
It's a Modern Horizons rare.
Did it just get reprinted?
No,
that's why it's
only printing is for Modern Horizons, and it's a rare.
Is it a creature?
Oh, okay. It's a red rare.
It's not a red rare. It's not red necessarily. He didn't say red. Well, he said it, but then he unsaid it.
I see. Okay. So is it red? You got to give us the color here, DJ. You're changing the rules.
It is a creature.
Here we go. It's a creature from Modern Horizons. Go.
It's rare.
Is it
It's a breaking bulk. This is a card that you could find. Like you would find it if somebody was like,
"I got all these." Is it the sneak attack guy?
Is it the what?
The sneak attack guy?
The Planeswalker sneak attack? No.
How many red rares were there? There was like Goblin Engineer, and then that guy, and then Mons.
There it is.
Oh, it's Mons Pashalik.
Mons Pashalik or Palisik or whatever it is.
Yeah, nobody's gonna know how to pronounce this card, but it is a legendary goblin that was originally referenced on like some old alpha card.
Mons is Goblin Raiders.
Yeah.
Oh, it's actually Pashalik Mons. It's the other way around.
But this is a card that you're gonna find in Modern Horizons bulk rares because there's a lot of cards in that set that were just basically written off from the start, where they were just, oh, this is a bulk rare. This is designed to be bulk rare. This is garbage. And I mean, it's just a card that's not. Its market price is only like 67 cents or so. Yeah. But it's been creeping up a little bit, and it's just a card that I will pay a quarter on it. Like back when Magic Fest existed, I would pay a quarter on this card because it is a actual buy-listable card that has demand from Goblin players, and it's not in the same group as like Force of Rage or Endling or Nether Spirit or Reap the Pat. Like those are true bulk rares. This is not true bulk rare.
Yeah, I mean this card is legitimately played in Modern Goblins. Now, you could be forgiven for forgetting that Modern Goblins exists, given the way Modern goes these days, and I don't think they have a Goblin companion, so probably shouldn't be playing Modern Goblins, but this card is legitimately good in that deck. And if this card existed 2.5, 3 years ago, this would have been great. If you'd taken the Modern Horizons Goblins cards and put them in Modern before Modern Horizons broke Modern, it would have been great. Would have been a really cool deck to have around, because Pashalik Mons is actually really neat. Whenever a creature... whenever it or another goblin dies, he deals damage to any target. 4 mana, sack a goblin, create 2 goblins. You do crazy stuff with whatever the one red drop goblin is that can sack other goblins for red mana. It's just this card's just got a lot going for it. This is a breaking bulk. This is a good breaking bulk.
I know.
Yeah, it probably won't be bulk forever. Well,
it's not bulk.
It's not bulk now, but no, I mean, but the thing is, it's still a 50-cent rare, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if to see it just kind of creep up over time. It's a goblin card.
It's a fitty.
Fitty.
somewhere.
Corbin, you got the set code wrong for conspiracy.
Oh, did I
Get
do CSP? Did I do
Your
cold
shit
snap?
together.
What is it? CNS?
Yep.
Good catch.
For those of you who were like, wait, what do you mean the set code? What are you talking about? Well, we're talking about entering our breaking bulks and pick of the weeks and TBD into a spreadsheet. And that spreadsheet is available for patrons at the $10 and up level. It goes back all the way to 2017. You can see every pick we've ever made, all the breaking bulks. You can categorize it. You can duplicate the sheet on your own time and sort it however you like because they're sorted by set. And then if you're like, oh, I'm going to sort some my own bulk and pull my Shadows over Innistrad stuff, you can pull just every Shadows over Innistrad card we've ever named for breaking bulk, and there you go.
Now you're telling people how to, like, what's possible in the realm of spreadsheets. Calm down. You could sort it alphabetically. You could sort it by price.
You can
could
sort it by price
Control
because
F.
we have a loyal fan who updates a pick of the week tracker so you can determine whose picks have done what in price.
Yeah, that part is pretty cool, actually.
Because
We
I'm
got
winning.
a little game. It's pretty fun.
All right. I got a pick of the week.
No, you have a breaking bulk.
Oh, my pick for breaking bulk this week is my pick of the week. So
Good save.
Let's hear your breaking bulk pick of the week.
my pick of the breaking bulk week has many printings. You could argue 7, but it's more like 6, and it's still over $1.
Okay.
You could argue 7, but it's more like 6. This is already sounds like a DJ
Yeah, I'm
pick.
very confused.
I'll tell you why it's
Is
not
it not
7.
red? Or is it not red?
It's not red.
Okay.
It's an instant that's not red. I'll give you one of the sets. Oh man, none of these are helpful.
What are you doing? What's the original printing?
The original printing gives it away.
Oh my gosh.
Alliances. It's a non-red instant from Alliances. It's common. It had 2 arts in Alliances.
Everything had 2 arts and alliances.
That's not true.
I know. Common instant from alliances.
That isn't red.
That has like 18 million printings.
It has 6 printings, and 2 of the 7 are the 2 different versions from Alliances.
I don't know the answer to this one.
It's blue.
It's
what? Arcane Denial?
Yeah.
Oh, I was like thinking.
I should have gotten this. You're obligated to pick this once every 6 months.
Oh, how many
does get
times is
picked
it on the
regularly.
2020 spreadsheet?
That's why I said every 6
Zero.
months because it's your deadline.
0. You're in the clear, Jason. You're in the
So
clear.
I'm playing the game properly, is what you're saying.
You know, DJ, sometimes the bulk prices change, man. It's good to know that Arcane Denial is still a pick.
Why don't I pick an 8-month-old card that's a bulk rare? And it's bulk because it's 8 months old. We did it. It's 51 cents now. It's eligible.
Hey, it's on buy list for quarters. That's what counts.
I agree. All right, let's knock out a couple emails. How about that? Email music. I don't know. What email
Yeah,
music
for those of
is.
you who don't know, email is a form of communication that people used to use back in the early 2000s, and we still read them on this podcast. I know you're all like Instagramming between your BuzzFeed Twitters and your social
BuzzFeed.
Discord medias, but like
TikTok, DJ.
yeah, your
Talk.
your
ticks
Discord
and your
TikTok,
talks.
your Discord TikToks and all your yeah.
You got your ticks and you got your talks.
We have an email from a listener, and it opens up pretty aggressively, if I might say. It just says, "Good day, the guest DJ."
I like that. I like this email already.
I mean, you can say if you say "g'day" right before it. You're like, did he just? Oh, he's Australian.
They called DJ a guest. I'm in.
Yeah.
Between being burnt alive. Oh, this email was from 7 days ago. Just
Okay.
Because
sure.
sometimes we read emails on this podcast that are a little dated. So just as a
But
heads
not
up.
this one. Not this one.
Between being burnt alive from brush fires, fires really turning up both the standard and physical landscape of Australia, and getting death coronaed, I was curious to hear what the hosts and DJ had to offer in terms of advice in regards to buying Magic cards with a potent economic downturn about to occur. I would like to hear what each of you saw during the GFC, that's global financial crisis for all you cool kids. All of us knew that, but just in case you didn't know that, we're throwing that out there.
DJ wasn't alive in 2008.
In Magic cards pricing, and what potential lessons from that economic downturn may be seen and learned from? Was there a certain trend of cards that became available? What is some advice for buying cards? Should we be buying certain cards now or selling certain ones? Should I be asking this many questions in an email?
I'll take the first part of this. When the GFC happened, the global financial crisis, if that's what we're talking about, a meltdown from 2008.
Tell me about the war, Grandpa.
Yeah, I was graduating college at the tail end of that. Wasn't a lot of fun, but here's the thing about that. Magic was counter-recessionary. What that means is, while everything else was tanking in price to whatever extent, people weren't using it, people weren't going out, people didn't have money, Magic was doing great. And now there's a lot of reasons I guess you could point to, and we can't definitively say which one accounted for this percentage of the growth or whatever, but Magic had really good years in that time. That was Zendikar, that was Duels of the Planeswalkers, I believe, was also sort of like in that 3-ish year time period, which we think drove a lot of people to the game. Magic went through some explosive growth then. You can also...
There was like Zendikar, Alara, Scars of Mirrodin.
Board games also went through sort of a resurgence around that time. And one of the theories going on then was that people who couldn't go spend $100 at the bar getting drunk on a Friday night, well, they could probably split a $40 board game with their friends and play it at home. Maybe they went and got Commander precons and played at home if those existed. Maybe they bought dual decks. Like maybe they just went and bought some booster packs. Whatever it was, gaming was seen as counter-recessionary, and Magic did extremely well during that time. So, with that said, is that applicable to now? I'm not sure that it is, because we spent the first part of the cast talking about all these different things that make what's going on right now unique and not necessarily comparable to the financial crisis back then. So, I mean, that's the part of the question that I feel really comfortable answering. As far as what that means, I don't know. I think that the cards that spike now are probably not going to get a lot cheaper. We've seen the stimulus bucks at work, and will there be a bunch of extra supply when Magic Fest come back? I don't know, but I think at the end of the day, it's probably fine. Now, we don't know what's going to come out of this. Maybe this is the trigger for a larger recession that may or may not make a difference.
This game will survive the heat death of the universe.
Yeah, I mean, I think it very well might. So,
I mean, a recession was predicted before this, so I can't imagine this helped.
Yeah, I mean, but again, we don't I think every recession is unique, and where they start in the economy, because they always have ripple effects. It's the global financial crisis that happened, right? That was triggered by subprime mortgages or whatever lending they were doing, but it caused a chain reaction that then was coupled along with extraordinarily expensive gas from oil prices, and then hurricanes were bad that season, and it took out refinery capacity. So then the price of gas went up. So now people don't have money for other things, so they stop spending. So now those industries are hurting, and everything's connected, and everything can fall apart, even if whatever the actual problem with the economy happens in one small part of it. So we don't know what's going to happen from this. The entire world took a pause. Magic seems to be doing just fine just now. So if you got stimulus bucks and you want to buy something, if you want to buy collections, I think you're in the clear to do it. I mean, I'm still buying collections when they come to me. I wouldn't stop doing that. As far as, is there a better time to buy? It depends. I don't think that you should count on a big jump in supply that will then lead to significantly decreased prices. I think if you want a card, just get your cards. We haven't seen... A month ago, I was legitimately worried about whether this would crash the market. Stimulus checks came through. We saw everything pop up. I suspect that will continue as the world begins on this path to reopening. So I would not panic sell. and I would be comfortable buying.
Now, what this could have the effect with this could see Arena kind of supplanting Paper Magic, because Arena is real strong right now. Everyone's able to play it versus having real complicated camera setups to try to play with your friends. So
yeah,
Paper could suffer, but Magic as a whole could be good. And I think if Magic as a whole is doing well, Arena could drag Paper along with it. So I kind of think the fact that Magic has diversified its bonds a little bit, the way Wu-Tang Clan said to, could actually, Paper's weakness actually could bolster Arena, which will turn around and re-bolster Paper. So I kind of think the health of the game overall will help Paper, even though Paper's not doing itself any favors by being something you can't really play during a time of social distancing.
Paper Standard is dead. Maybe forever, but at the minimum, it's dead till rotation. I would not invest in a standard deck in Paper. I would not buy expensive cards from those sets.
Do you say that just because
Paper Magic is dead?
Do you think the format can be fixed with bans?
I don't even know that there will be large-scale paper tournaments before rotation happens. How about that?
Sure. That's fair.
That's in October. I think that is a giant concern. Even if they do happen, say they come back to this, say we're having events in July or something, right? And I don't know. I mean, I obviously have some communication from WotC, but what I'm saying right now is I have no idea when those events will or won't come back, but I don't suspect it to be anytime soon. So I don't think you should touch a standard card in Paper. And honestly, I don't know. I think if you play Arena and you play Brawl or something on Arena, that makes you want to go play Commander with your friends, right? You're kind of getting the weaker version of that experience. But honestly, if you're trying to jam games of Standard and your companions and all this crap, you're better off on Arena anyway. So I don't even know if Paper Standard is going to come back after rotation and in insignificant numbers. And obviously people play Standard, but Mark Rosewater said something interesting a few days ago, though. He said that somebody asked him basically this type of question straight up, and he said, we still make the vast majority of our revenue from Paper Magic. We do not want Paper Magic to die.
People ask that man on Twitter and Tumblr all the time, is this the death of Paper Magic? And he will always just say no.
Never is. Yep. All right. Did we handle most of that email?
I think so.
All right. You got another one for us?
Sure.
Let's
I mean, I can finish out the email.
There's more.
Because he compliments my Gaunty deck, so I mean, that's...
no, we're good. Next email.
Compliments for cast members only.
Next email.
Alright, hey Brew Crew, I just started playing Magic around War of the Spark. I'm a little late to the game. I was wondering if you guys had a schedule of what people should be doing. More specifically, what's something daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly I could be doing to improving my MTG Finance game. Thanks for all the time and thank you for all the advice you guys put out. Totally trying to start stuff. DJ seems approachable. Everyone's probably scared of Jason, and I feel bad for Corbin because it seems like you guys pick on him, but I also want to punch him in the face. I'm approachable.
I'm pretty medium on this email. Gotta say.
Shut up, Corbin.
Oh, that's a throwback meme right there.
Remember we were going to get Shut Up Corbin t-shirts? And
we were going to do that, yeah.
And then nobody was going to buy them.
I'll tell you something you can do daily. Check MTG stocks. Go to the market price, not the median price. You can see what the actual price of cards selling for is. What I do is I set the filter down to 25 cents, so you can see any card that has moved 25 cents in the past day, or you can scroll down, you can see in the past week. And that's how you just try to do that when you get up in the morning before you go to bed at night. Just spend 3 minutes looking at that page. You start to see some stuff. Oh, I've seen this card a few times. You go look at the chart on it. You get to see stuff, because at the end of the day, a lot of what we do is just based on, we talk about it all the time, but hard work. But in this case, that literally just means how many cards are you putting in front of you and looking up the price of, because that's how you catch trends. Is you just spend a night buy listing cards and you check them out as you sell them, or when you buy them or whatever, and you see you look at prices. But I don't think that just going and clicking on random cards at MTG stocks is very effective. But looking at that interest page, and particularly what I like to look at is the weekly ones to see what cards have gone up 5% in a week. That's to me a lot more meaningful than probably anything else. And that's a very easy one you can do on your phone while you're lying in bed at night for just a couple minutes. That you'll have more knowledge than you did before.
Honey, why won't you talk to us? Shut up! I need to check the stocks.
MTG stonks. I don't know. What about weekly? Weekly, you should listen to this podcast, but
read articles. Like, even if you think you know what they're going to say in the articles, like people that are suggesting picks are going to be talking about cards that they noticed. Like, it could be formats you don't pay attention to, and they're like paying attention to them, so you don't have to. I write articles and I still read articles because, like, I mostly focus on EDH now, so I have to see what other people are talking about. So, if I'm reading articles, you should be reading articles too, and it doesn't really take that long. That's something you could do every single day. Yeah, a lot of the MTG finance
He's telling you to
articles
consume
are free.
visual media by reading it instead of watching a video.
But also,
I mean, if your own voice inside your own head sucks, I feel bad for you, but most people's voices inside their head sound more pleasant than anybody making a YouTube video, so you should probably just read stuff.
you can also, you'll just know more if you read standard or modern articles from people. I've made picks on this cast before. The trap comes to mind, the black trap that exiles people's graveyards.
Ravenous Trap.
Ravenous Trap, yeah, that comes to mind as a card.
It's Corbin. It's actually called Inertia Trap.
Inertia Trap, yeah. That comes to mind as a card that I had to pick a week on the cast that blew up last year. And it was just because I was following modern content and to a lesser extent modern results, and noticed that this card was just showing up in a lot of sideboards because I think it was just Hogak time, right? So, but there's a lot of money to be made on Ravenous Trap during that time of Hogak, and it was there. You saw people start to put it in their sideboards, and there was a healthy competitive level discussion about whether you wanted Trap or Cage or whatever else at that time, or Rest in Peace. But that discussion was going on amongst articles and content and all this for weeks before the card really spiked. So there is, even if you don't really care about those formats or play them super regularly, I mean, there is some knowledge you can glean from that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess my little chip in here would be to just pay attention to social media and announcements and just following players who know what they're talking about. A lot of my knowledge and ability to predict card trends and stuff just comes from paying attention to people who are skilled at Magic and who know what they're talking about with the formats that are relevant, like pioneer streamers, just people who are good at Magic and putting up results and winning, and just keeping your finger, even if it's just a minor finger on the pulse of something. Just social media, Facebook, Twitter, just pay attention to who's doing what.
And you, the last part of it is you said monthly in the email, but I'm going to take it a little farther. How about yearly, annually, the things you should do? One of the things I know that that the three of us have done is when we get bulk rares in collections, we put them in big boxes. We sell them occasionally, blah, blah, blah. But the reality is I have a 5 row and a half full of bulk rares right now across the room from me. Once a year, you should probably pick your bulk rares because they don't all stay bulk. Some of them go from bulk to $3. Some of them go from bulk to $10. Kragenwick Cremator, I think, is probably the best example of that. Just some random Shadowmoor rare that
River
happened
Kelpie!
to combo. Yeah, and then River Kelpie, of course, is DJ's famous one. So, but these cards go from bulk to being worth not just breaking bulk status, although that happens too, but sometimes they just actually spike. So annually, if you have a list, if you have a bunch of cards set back like that, look through them. I'm not going to tell you to pick your common and uncommon bulk again. That's probably a little more questionable on the time versus value aspect of it, but at least look at your bulk rares, or your old trade binder or something like that, right? You sometimes will even find cards that have spiked because of a content creator doing something, or a new commander that's kind of made a spike, and now this card's worth money, and it might not be worth money for 6 months because people move on in Commander. They move on in whatever deck that the latest content creator has made. Just because bulk rares spike up to being worth money doesn't mean they're going to stay that way. So you want to try to keep an eye on them. All right. That was a good set of emails. We should send us those emails, everybody.
Yes, it's them not sending them and not us not reading them. That's the problem.
Yeah. You don't send enough emails. Everybody keeps sending those emails.
And patrons go to the front of the line.
That's right. They do. How could we have From the Vault emails if we read every email, Jason?
That's a good point. So
Brain
we'll read your
plays.
email the next week on the cast or in 7 years.
Or in 7 years.
We'll flip a coin.
But then you're famous. It gives you a reason to listen 7 years from now. You're just playing the long game. Someone sends an email in, gets it answered, and they're like, yeah, I guess I know everything I need to know now. They answered my question. I guess I'll stop listening. But if you hang on for 7 years waiting for us to read it, you might get rewarded. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. That is.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
That is what Michael Scott says.
No, that's what Michael Scott said. Wayne Gretzky said.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, final segment of the week. Pick of the week.
Pick of the week. Pick of the week. Pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
Pick of the week. Pick of the week.
Pick of the week.
We already have
It's
pick of
time
the week
for
song.
you. What?
We already have a pick of the week song.
Yeah, but sometimes you got to remix it.
You do?
Yep.
Remix. Did I do it? That was my
Did you do
record
what?
scratch. That was my record scratch name. My noise. The Was that good?
Yeah.
Was that a shotgun? Was that a
I
shotgun?
want to put one of those in my mouth.
All right, who wants to go first?
So, my pick of the week is a black legendary creature from Commander 2019.
We're not doing are we doing a guessing game?
Well, I thought there was a lead in because you were going to be like, but you picked Kuruk last week, and I was going to be like, yes, and I'm picking Geth, Lord of the Vault this week.
Why would... Man, that's all.
He's not
going to
remember. He's not
That's
going
a
to
lo-
remember what you picked last
Like, I have to
week.
care about your pick this week. I got to care about your pick last week. Like,
He's never going to remember.
You're asking me to do so much emotional labor for a bit we didn't rehearse.
Yep.
He's never going to remember.
I tossed it to you, and then I picked a card out of your graveyard and put it onto my battlefield. Because Geth, Lord of the Vault is $1.
Wow.
This card is very, very powerful.
It is good.
This card used to be, before the old Commander 2019 hit, this card was $10. And it is just a very, very powerful casual all-star. It's a zombie. It's got Intimidate. It steals stuff. It steals artifacts. It mills them. It's legendary. It's just got so many things going for it. And I feel like this is just... I believe, and I could be wrong here, but I believe it is in the black-red deck, which is the Angie deck. And the Angie deck is the one that has Dockside Extortionist. And the one that has Dockside Extortionist is the one that people rip open, tear to shreds, grab their Kuruk and Dockside Extortionist, and then chuck the rest of the deck out the window. So this is just a very, very powerful casual commander card that I think will be back up to $5 within the next year or two.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. All right, I'll jump in here. I can only assume that this is like getting some renewed interest due to Commander. But Underrealm Lich, the green-black 5-drop 4/3 zombie elf shaman from Guilds of Ravnica.
I mean, that was always strong, and then like nobody cared for a while, and everyone just forgot that it was always going to eventually do something.
Yep, the card, it's a 4/3. If you would draw a card instead, look at the top 3, put 1 in your hand, the rest in your graveyard. And you can pay 4 life to give it indestructible until end of turn. You have to tap it. So this card has risen from 2 to about 250 since the beginning of the year. It's a mythic. It doesn't see any play in standard, so its price is not tied to that. It's a mythic from Guilds of Ravnica. I mean, a set that also has some money going to Shockland. So that's something to keep in mind. But look, you're looking at 250 on Underrealm Lich right here. I think that this card is going to end up somewhere. The effect is just incredibly powerful.
So many pre-release games for me.
Yeah,
me and Emily had this. She had the March of the Multitudes, and I had this in our Two-Headed Giant game. Because every Two-Headed Giant game lasts 75 turns, and so like we couldn't deck out because I had Underrealm Lich.
Ah, the value. That's
and then
right.
she would just play March of the Multitudes for 78 or whatever.
Sure. That'll do it. Card is great. Jason, what do you got?
All right, so a lot of people are doing a lot of weird spell slingy stuff right now. Like Calimax is one of the most popular Commander 2020 decks right now. people are casting a lot of wheels or casting a lot of spells. Ryle is making you want to dump stuff in your yard. So something that like makes your spells a little bit cheaper and then has some upside, I think is a good pick right now. I kind of like Primal Amulet. The upside of Primal Amulet is there are multiple different versions. There is like a promo version where on the back there's like a piece of a treasure map, and then if you got all the flip stuff, you could assemble the full map.
Those were cool.
Yeah, and those are cool promos, and the fact that some of them are playable and the fact that they'll really never do that treasure map type thing again means there's really some upside on those promos. So if you can get those for a reasonable price, I like those. But honestly, just regular old $5 Primal Amulet just seems fine. It's approaching like $9 on Card Kingdom, so the fact that it's like half that some other places means that the EDH crowd has spoken, and I kind of think you can almost double up just like retail to retail right now. So if you can get Primal Amulet cheaper than $5, I really, really like it at that price. And it's going to go up. It's got a cool, unique promo on it. And if you read my articles on MTG Price, I've been kind of high on this card for a while.
Don't hate it.
I love this card. I've been playing this in my, before I couldn't play Magic anymore, I was playing this in my Keranos deck on Commander Nights that I just put together. It's a fun one for sure. All right, everybody. This was Brainstorm Brewery.
It still is.
Let us know.
But it was too.
It was. That's true. Let us know what you think of the TBD segment. Anything else you guys want to touch on before we get out of here this week?
Go to patreon.com/Brainstorm Brewery and give us 20 or 25 cents an episode. Have access to our Discord and to support your favorite podcaster's favorite podcast.
All right, everybody. One more time, I'm Corbin Hostler at @CHostler on Twitter. Jason DJ, where can people find you across the wide web of the internet?
I am CHostler88 on Twitter. I got Corbin's old Twitter handle. That made
Good
people
for you.
Think, yeah. It was available. You bullied an old man who just wanted to talk about his lunch and had given up his Twitter account. I thought, you know what? I'll take CHostler88 because I'm not afraid of people thinking I might be a neo-Nazi.
Good for you.
Yep.
DJ, where can people find you?
You can find me at Rose of Thorns on Twitter. The second O is a 0. You can find me at Magic Fest when those come back under the 95 MTG banner buying cards. You can find me under #CardGarden on Twitter. That's about it right now. And here.
And here at this podcast, Brainstorm Brewery. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. Please, please, please give us feedback on these segments. In the show, we want to make sure that we are still creating content that our listeners want. So we've been in the same format for a while, and we have some new stuff that we want to tease. So we're trying out some new segments. We also have a big announcement coming up. Now, it does have to remain a secret. Why? Because DJ said Corbin teased this announcement. But we are announcing that we'll be making an announcement, Wizards of the Coast style, and it will be exciting, I promise. So give us a couple weeks. You'll hear all about
that. We're making actually, you know what? I'm just gonna say it right now because I don't like waiting. We're making a companion version of Brainstorm Brewery.
Mm-hmm.
You can always start with it in your opening.
Where are you going with that?
Your opening podcast app? I don't know. Anyways, though, you should go check out our channel at www.com. What? YouTube.
www.com. And I'm the boomer.
Regardless, you should go check us out at youtube.com/Brainstorm Brewery because there will be some extra content in there. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. As always, shout out to our sponsor, Channel Fireball. This is Brainstorm Brewery. We'll see you next time.
Shout out to the editor and the thumbnail maker, to JJ and Matt. Shout out to them.
That's Mr. Thumbnail Guy to you.
Okay.
We did it.
I'm gonna